The microphone turned on, and Aaliyah Boston completely lost her cool with the home crowd. Thousands of loud arena fans had just let out a huge wave of boos aimed at their own bench, and the locker room finally broke into open conflict. Instead of the head coach stepping up under pressure, Stephanie White went totally silent, refusing to face the cameras. What came next was an emergency cleanup effort that blew up in front of millions of shocked viewers. The whole arena expected Stephanie White to walk out, face the tough questions, and explain why the team was falling apart. Instead, reporters stared at an empty podium while team staff scrambled behind the scenes. The head coach had basically disappeared, avoiding the very press that tracks her every move. This was supposed to be a normal after-practice media session, but the silence from the coaching staff said more than any prepared statement could. The tense mood hit a breaking point during starting lineups, when the arena burst into loud boos the moment White's name was called. Home fans had run out of patience with poor game decisions and a clear lack of accountability. Instead of owning it, White pulled back into the shadows, leaving her star players to deal with the intense backlash. The locker room was suddenly stuck defending a leader who wouldn't defend herself. Aaliyah Boston walked straight up to the microphones and did not hide her anger at the fans. She made it very clear that turning on the team and booing the coach on their own home court crossed a line of basic respect. Boston called the crowd's behavior irritating and disrespectful to the work happening inside the building. But her passionate defense didn't calm things down. It only added fuel to an already blazing controversy across the basketball world. Fans quickly pushed back on Boston, saying the anger wasn't random, it had built up over months of silence. The real frustration came from the coaching staff repeatedly failing to protect players during rough physical moments on the court. When Alyssa Thomas grabbed Caitlin Clark around the neck during live play, the sideline barely reacted. Supporters felt the head coach had completely failed to stand up for her top talent. The anger grew even more after Sophie Cunningham took a brutal clothesline hit from Dijon Carrington that knocked her to the floor. Again, the sideline stayed quiet, with no strong technical fouls or public calls for a league review. Fans who spent their hard-earned money wanted a tough leader who would fight for the team no matter what. Instead, they watched a coach who seemed disconnected while opponents played rough every single night. With White still missing, Kelsey Mitchell was forced to step up to the podium and give her own emotional defense. Mitchell shared private details from behind closed doors, saying she had to personally look White in the eye to reassure her. She described a coach clearly worn down by the heavy criticism, someone genuinely struggling with the emotional weight of it all. Hearing that a professional head coach was breaking down behind the scenes surprised everyone listening. Mitchell asked critics to remember that coaches are human beings doing a high-pressure job, but her explanation didn't land well. Skeptical fans quickly pointed out that Mitchell gets total freedom in White's offense, taking as many shots as she wants without being benched. To many watching, Mitchell coming out to praise the coach felt less like real team unity and more like protecting a system that benefits her. The public wasn't buying the excuses, and tension around the franchise kept climbing. Using star players as a shield for an absent coaching staff is one of the oldest tricks in sports PR. Sending Boston and Mitchell out to face tough questions while White stayed hidden was a huge misstep. It created the image of a leader who wants all the authority of a head coach without any of the public pressure that comes with it. The media saw right through the move and focused even harder on the missing leadership. All season, Stephanie White had regularly spoken to the press after intense practices, which made this sudden disappearance stand out even more. Reporters checked every hallway and asked for comments, only to find closed doors and dodged questions. The head coach was clearly avoiding the spotlight, unwilling to explain why the team couldn't close out games or protect its stars. Avoiding the cameras only made the story worse than if she just answered the questions. Veteran sports analyst Dan Dakich didn't hold back while breaking down the chaos inside the organization. He criticized the whole roster and staff for caring more about social media narratives than what happens on the court. Dakich pointed out that the league had wanted primetime attention, major TV coverage, and big revenue for years. Now that real scrutiny has finally shown up, the organization is struggling to handle basic accountability. The truth is, nobody was watching this franchise closely until Caitlin Clark joined the roster. Before this season, practices were quiet, press conferences were half-empty, and coaching decisions rarely made national news. But the moment a generational star joined the team, everything changed overnight. Every substitution, every benching, every press conference became a headline, and the coaching staff wasn't ready for that level of attention. Dakich compared the situation to NFL stars like Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, who deal with constant weekly criticism without hiding from it. Real professional athletes and coaches don't get to ask for huge exposure and then complain about negative comments. If you want the spotlight of major American sports, you need thick skin and you need to own your results. Complaining about fans booing after asking for full arenas shows a lack of professional maturity. The league office also dropped the ball early on, admitting they never expected this level of attention. That surprising admission set a bad example that spread down to individual coaching staffs across the league. Instead of taking advantage of record TV ratings and full arenas, key people spent their time complaining about the new pressure. The sport wanted global attention, and once it arrived, the structure behind it started to crack. Tensions grew even more as prominent league figures took subtle shots at Clark throughout her record-breaking season. From Olympic coaching controversies to veterans downplaying her impact, the hostility created a divided atmosphere across the league. Instead of working together to build something strong, teams turned into ongoing drama. Fans noticed every bit of passive-aggressive behavior and aimed their frustration straight at the coaching staff. The breaking point was never just about missed shots or blown leads late in games. It was about a complete failure to show leadership. When Kennedy Carter hit Clark from behind, away from the play, the lack of an immediate response from the team set a bad tone. The front office and coaching staff seemed frozen, afraid of saying the wrong thing to the press. That weak response convinced fans that White would never provide the strong leadership needed to win championships. You can't ask to be treated like a top-tier league while handling basic sports conflict with soft gloves. Professional sports run on high stakes, passionate arguments, loud arenas, and real accountability from paying fans. When fans pay top dollar for tickets, they earn the right to express approval or disappointment. Telling paying fans they have no right to boo while the coach avoids them is a fast way to lose your fan base. Aaliyah Boston's passionate defense may have come from real loyalty to her team, but it missed the bigger picture. Fans aren't turning against the players. They're upset that the players aren't being protected on the court. By criticizing the crowd, Boston accidentally put herself between an angry fan base and a coach who was hiding. It was a strategic mistake that shifted attention away from basketball and onto internal problems. Sources close to the team suggest the locker room is feeling the pressure of public criticism more than they let on. Kelsey Mitchell's comments about White's visible emotional strain show that outside noise has reached team meetings. When players spend practice time discussing online criticism and hurt feelings, winning basketball becomes secondary. Championship teams tune out outside noise, but this team seems overwhelmed by every tweet and headline. The gap between the team's confident public image and their emotional reaction to crowd noise is getting harder to ignore. They celebrate sold-out road games and strong merchandise sales, yet struggle emotionally the moment the home crowd turns on them. Real athletic greatness is built in tough environments, not protected by PR strategies and guarded press conferences. Until the coaching staff takes a hard look at itself, this downward spiral will keep hurting the season. Time is running out for Stephanie White to step out of hiding and address the growing anger from fans. Avoiding post-game interviews and sending younger players to take the tough questions will seriously damage her credibility with the team. Leaders are judged by how they handle the hardest moments, not how easily they handle calm ones. Every day she stays silent, the franchise loses more control over its own story. The upcoming home games could turn into a major flashpoint if the coaching staff doesn't change course soon. Fans who felt insulted by Boston's comments are already planning to make their frustration known even louder at the next game. If the team plays flat and the coach stays passive on the sideline, the boos will shake the arena. There will be nowhere to hide, and no player speaking at the podium will be able to fix it. The new era of women's basketball has officially arrived, bringing major money, huge fame, and real, unavoidable accountability. You can't hide behind excuses or expect unconditional praise when the entire sports world is watching your every move. Stephanie White has to decide whether she's going to step up and lead this historic team, or let the moment overwhelm her. In the demanding world of professional sports, silence is never a strategy, it's a sign of defeat.